Hi everyone, I'm Sean,
And I'm Christina.
and this is the Avoid and Avoidance podcast. I hope everyone's having a great day today.
Yes, it's beautiful out around here.
Yeah, it's a nice Tuesday, nice relaxing Tuesday.
I
Uh,
don't think that's ever been in anyone's sentence
yeah,
before.
no, it's a nice relaxing Tuesday. Well, you have off work on Tuesday, so
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
only reason for me.
yeah,
Otherwise, it would be the middle of the week.
yeah.
But
Back to the grind tomorrow, right?
yeah, unfortunately.
So, hey guys, first off, I wanted to talk about. I wanted to get out. Thanks for the support again. I've been receiving so much support from everyone, and so has Christina, and we've
Mm-hmm.
been having a lot of people reach out to us. It means a lot. It means a lot because this is a lot harder than we thought it would be, and
Yeah, for sure.
but we do love engaging with people, and we do love getting to vent and open up because we also need to open up and let stuff out about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I also got some feedback saying that some of you guys liked the last episode and the episode that we did the
The
questions on
questions, yeah.
because they were different than mental health. And of course, we want to stay around the subject of mental health, but I think people just the way they explained it to me was they liked that we talked about something other than mental health to break the
Mm.
tension because
It's a lot.
it's a lot. One and two, we're not just our mental health. We're like I always say, we are not our disorders.
Right.
So
We've
we
got
don't,
full personalities and
and we've
lives.
got opinions and we've got things we want to talk about too, and so do other people. So
Right.
if we can get it, even if we can get people to open up about just giving their opinion about something, not even about their mental health, then still that gives them the courage to open up more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But today, did you want to start with the mental health topic, or did you want to?
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to go into how anxiety can affect everyone differently. And maybe not just anxiety, but really any mental health illness affects every single person differently.
Everything affects everyone differently, just like medication does too.
Yeah, like for myself, for example, I'm on two medications, not as regularly as I should, but I'm on fluoxetine, which is Prozac, and aripiprazole, which is Abilify, and I'm supposed to take that once a day. And I don't know if it's because of my anxiety and depression that I'm bad at it, or if it's just my regular personality. But the fact that
You've always been bad at taking pills
yeah.
consistently.
So it doesn't help my case, I know. But anyway, that I don't know if that's related to the way that anxiety affects me in so many different ways, because it's hard to determine if it's like side effects from being on the medication,
Right.
or if it's truly like different ways that it's manifesting. Like for me, for depression, I think I've mentioned this before, but I just feel so stale for like
Stagnant.
yeah, but I want to say stale too, though, because it just feels like everything does feel like it's old, and that,
Like what?
like, the fact that it feels like I wake up and it feels like a couple of weeks have gone by so quickly. I'm just tired of not feeling present all the time. Like, everything just
Hmm.
feels so, I don't know, routine, but not in like a routine way. I don't know.
I think I understand what you're saying, but I always felt like that. I've always felt like everything is just every day is just another day. Like that's what you're saying. You feel like
Yeah.
so yeah. You need to start doing things that you feel like are out of the box.
Yeah, I know. That's definitely something I want to do. Like,
I
I,
know it sounds simple and stupid. I know it's not that. I know it's not that simple. I mean, because if it was, you would be doing it. But it's you need to. You feel like you're just living, not living.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to add some stuff in, spice
Like,
it
I want
up.
to get back into volunteering.
Okay, there you go.
Like, I used
Especially we're
to,
moving to Florida, so I mean we're gonna
yeah.
have all new opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely need to do the one from around here soon, too, just so I could also say goodbye. But I used to volunteer with children in Camden, New Jersey to help tutor
Where I'm
them.
from,
Yeah, exactly, where he's from. It was before I met him, or I guess during the time I met you.
yeah, a little before, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I tutored them in math and reading, and we also did a little bit of mentorship within it. We got assigned to the same child every week, and it was really fun for me and eye opening in terms of me being grateful for what I have compared to what a lot of these children unfortunately grow up with. But it was also fun, like, having a child that I can teach things that I've learned from my education
Right.
and giving them these
Helping
tips.
people, educating.
Yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed that. And for some reason, I just stopped when I went to college, even though I probably had the time to go still.
I feel like that's when you first started dealing with your anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. And I know why that got triggered then.
Right.
Because the year I started college was also the year that the man who molested me got out of jail. And I thought
Right.
I was okay with it, but obviously that's when things started to spiral.
Right.
Or also, I mean, it also could have been me kind of coming of age too. So,
Well, you were doing both. You were becoming a young adult and going out on your own for the
yeah.
first time, and you were also worried about that.
Yeah.
Not worried like anything was going to happen, but it was just something that was causing anxiety in your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm curious what anxiety and depression mean to you in terms of how it manifests.
First of all, can I give you a hug?
Why?
Because you just opened up a lot.
He's
You,
hugging me right now. If you guys are curious.
Yeah, sorry about that. You opened up a lot. Yeah, but first of all, I always tell you this. You're very, very strong. Like I deal with a lot, and you deal with just as much. You always tell me I'm strong, and you dealt
You
with a
are.
lot. You dealt with a lot, and you've been through a lot, and you handled it very well. And you're still, I know because I'm living with you, and I've been with you for some years. You're still actively fighting. I've heard you say you give up, you're done with this, but you've never given up. You've never quit,
Yeah.
and that's what I appreciate because that helps push me forward too.
That's
But
good
like
to
you
know.
said, every anxiety affects everyone differently. Um, I would like to say, like one thing I want to point out is it doesn't affect you all the time.
Yeah.
It is certain days you have good days, just like with me. Certain days I want to talk to the entire world. Some days, but other days I don't want to talk to anyone at all.
That's true.
But I think the main thing for my anxiety is I tend to blame myself a lot for not having connections with people. That's where a lot of my anxiety comes from. Like I'm not, I'm not close to my mom because I don't reach out to my mom. I'm not as close to my friends because I don't go see and reach out to my friends as much as I
Right.
used to. And so when I do finally reach out to them, it's it's like I'm still nervous, and it's like I feel out of place, because I haven't been part of the normal going ons in their lives.
Okay.
That's one of the things that bothers me. I tend to blame myself for a lot of random things like deaths that happen that I have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't know if that's my anxiety or if that's something else, but I always feel like there's something more I could have done.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the situations that you've described, I don't feel like you've been any part of that in terms of what happened.
Right.
So I don't know I think that's your anxiety or it's part of the way that you're dealing with it. Just hoping that maybe there was something you could have done differently, but
Yeah. Well, like I said, I always talk about it. One of my close friends was killed by a drunk driver, but she would have been with me that day if we would have hung out like we normally would have. She would have been with me all that day, so she wouldn't have even left at that time and got into that accident. So I kind of feel like that's my fault. Another thing I blame myself for is like they say that people who get Alzheimer's get it when they don't have enough people to interact with and stimulate their mind. And when I moved out from living with my grandmother, that's when her Alzheimer's started to get worse because she didn't have anyone there to talk to her and stimulate her mind and keep her on track.
it could have been a coincidence.
It could have just been a coincidence, but that was one of the things they said can lead up to it. So
Yeah.
that
I get it, yeah.
I mean I rightfully know in my head that this is not stuff that I'm responsible for, but it's just my anxiety makes me feel like I'm responsible for
Yeah,
it.
no, I get it.
Another way like my anxiety affects me is trying to play video games. I still can't play with like random people. It's just as bad as if I was to see a random person in real life and
Like
have to
on the
talk to them.
streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since it's something skill based. So it's something you feel like you're good at, and if someone tells you you're not, or someone criticizes you on something you
Just
feel
knocks
like
you down.
yeah, it knocks you down like a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like one of your favorite games or something, you feel like you're pretty good, and someone just all they gotta say is you suck, and it just tears your confidence down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have to say you suck. They can just say one thing. They could be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, they're questioning." You know, with things with AvPD, it's like every little thing is something.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I don't want to get too into that because I can go into how my anxiety affects me in 250 different ways. But,
I mean, you're welcome to.
yeah, no. We just want to get the conversation going so we can have, all of these conversations are to spark conversations within you guys, and we want to know how your anxiety affects you on a daily basis.
And speaking of that, I did want to share some examples of ways that anxiety and depression affect different people. I won't leave any names in here, but I'll just do little blurbs so you guys can kind of get an idea about the different ways it can manifest so that if you feel that way, you don't have to feel like you're an outlier for any reason.
Right.
So this person says, to describe what living with depression anxiety is like to anyone that doesn't understand or hasn't experienced it before is to imagine a weight pulling your body down so heavy that every day you have to summon up the strength to push against it and lighten the impact. Wow, that was good. That's pretty accurate. Someone said that going to school actually helped to lessen their social anxiety. They love learning, particularly about the mind and behavior in both animals and humans. This was their reason they went to school, to pursue the desire to learn, coming out with a better understanding of a topic they were passionate in. And in doing so, they were able to talk with more peers because they were very like-minded.
Right. I feel like I feel like a lot of times, I feel like school affected so many people into getting their anxiety into either not having anxiety or into having anxiety. Like I feel like
It's a turning point.
yeah, I feel like it's a major like coming of age thing, and I see some people who come out of it with better social skills, and I see some people who come out of it with worse social skills because they were used to having that niche of friends,
Right.
and now they don't have
It's
it
completely
anymore.
different.
Yeah.
This person says being able to talk about mental health can take a weight off your shoulders, which is part of what we're trying to do and
Yeah.
give that forum for everyone
Yeah.
to give feedback.
Yeah, we want everyone to share. That's all we want, everyone to share. And we feel like it'll help you get so much off your chest. You don't have to hold any of this in.
Talking about how the world around you is closing in on you, how you feel alone, how it feels like it's raining gasoline and you're trying your hardest to resist the urge to set yourself on fire can be very challenging to talk about, especially if you've never had that space to talk about it before.
Right.
So that's
I know that's what it is for a lot of people too. I don't want to say I get upset, but we have a good bit of people reaching out to us.
yeah,
But I know there's more.
that are maybe afraid
Yeah,
to talk.
because they've never had anyone to open up to.
Yeah.
They've never had any platform, and that's what I'm trying to create, because there's no platform for people like us. People are just now starting to take mental health, depression, and anxiety seriously.
Right.
Like, I remember when people went in school, when we were supposed to go to the counselor, and the one girl Ashley tried to tell the counselor that she thought she was depressed. The counselor told her she's too young to have trauma or be depressed. And it's like, no, you're never too young to be depressed or to have trauma. I know it manifests normally in like young adults or something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, everyone can have it. And I feel like also like for example, like when you're a kid or when you're younger and your parents kind of like shoot down when you're upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that when you're like telling your parents like, oh, this sucks and this blah blah blah, and they're like, you don't know anything, you're just a kid. I feel like that makes you not want to talk to anyone. Like I feel like I said
Kind of
before,
sets that.
yeah, I said before, you need to feel valued and appreciated in order for you to open up to people. So that's why I try my hardest when people reach out to me to, answer everything they ask me and to be genuine with them, because if I do, then maybe next time they'll feel more comfortable opening up to the next person.
Right.
You have to make people feel like they matter. And like I said, all of our opinions matter and all of our feelings matter, whether you want to open up about your feelings or just some other topic, or just I had someone open up to me about something they completely didn't want me to use in the podcast, but they still opened up to me. And that made me feel good.
Yeah, I have someone like that too, and they just want to vent, which is fine.
Which is cool with me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Like I said, it's just trying to create a safe space for people who want to do that. And like I said, even if you want to just tell us our podcast sucks and we don't know what we're talking about, cool, vent those feelings, man. Like, that's all I want. Anything else you wanted to bring up on that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find one last one that I want to share. This person said they felt like they couldn't speak to anyone about their mental health. When they figured out something was wrong, it was too late. It consumed them. They were so close to going through with it. I assume they're talking about suicide. Until someone rang and snapped me out of the way that I was feeling. At the time, I thought, they thought they had no one, no family or friends, that they couldn't speak to anyone about their mental health. They had,
a lot of people feel.
Yeah, they had already lost a close friend to suicide. When they heard about the suicide rates amongst men, being that it's high, it made them think, why is there no help for men to talk about their mental health? And
we just talked about that recently too, that there's a huge double standard in mental health when it comes to men.
Yeah, in fact, I know you wanted to talk about our age metrics.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that it seems like, I forget what the age range is, but I believe between like 40 and 65, or maybe a little bit higher, that men are listening in.
Right.
Versus, or that's a larger percentage than younger men that are tuning in.
Right. I think that's because I've noticed I've been on my own for a while, so I feel like I'm an older soul. But when I was younger compared to now, my pride doesn't outweigh my feelings. Back then, it was like I was too proud and I had to be too strong. You know, I had to put on that persona.
To let it out.
Yeah. But as I grow older, I realized that, one, it's unhealthy to hold these things in, and two, you don't have to be the strong one. You don't have to. It's stronger to let your feelings out than it is to hold them in. And that's when I started doing that. I started like trying to express myself to everyone, and that helped me. I don't know how it. I don't want to say it's like that simple, because it's not as simple as just opening up.
Yeah, it's different for everybody. But I mean, once you find the thing that helps you open up, I feel like you should continue doing that, so that you can improve the way you feel about things, and it's not just weighing you down.
Right. Now we got off topic. Now where we're going again?
I was just talking about the one person sharing their story about feeling like men aren't in mental
it's just
health.
it's just a big double standard. Like, it's like the same thing with abuse. Like, men aren't taken as serious when they're said that they're depressed. We're told to toughen up. And I feel like not just men. I feel like a lot of people back in the day were told to toughen up. So I feel like with the older men we have in our audience that listen, I feel like those older men are over that time period where they have to feel like the macho young man who doesn't have anything wrong. They've lived a life already, and they know they have issues, and they're, I guess, tuning in to hear other people with those issues and have someone to relate to.
Yeah, we appreciate that for sure.
And I feel like we say the same thing we said about there's like older men, it's like, and young men, like really young men, and then the middle group is women.
Yes.
The middle age group is women.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, it kind of tells you, in general, what the emotional states are for these different ages.
Yeah.
Which can vary for everyone, but you can tell that it seems across the board, young to older, women are there. They're more in tune with their feelings.
Right, younger to older women. But for men, it's either really young or really old. And I think it's because, like I said, like, I know most of the time they say these anxiety disorders and personality disorders manifest when you're a young adult. So I feel like it's people who are just getting into, like, just learning about this stuff, and people who've already lived their whole life with this stuff for the men.
That's true, yeah.
And for the women, I guess it's just a big variation of in between, because I feel personally like women are usually more in touch with their feelings than men are.
Yeah.
And I mean, women are encouraged to be more in touch with their feelings than men are, definitely in the U.S. at least, in Western society, that's how it is. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of double standards that go on with that. But anyway.
Yeah.
But we wanted to talk about support systems.
Yeah. Because
a lot of us don't have support systems. I always say I don't have a support system, but I gotta stop saying that because I do have you, I do have my brothers, and I do have my mother. You know, it's not as rock solid a support system as a lot of people have, but it is just a support system.
Yeah.
And I always, I gotta stop saying I don't have a support system because if I didn't have what I do have, I'd be going crazy.
And do you feel like your support system can do more for you? Like, what would you like?
Of course, I feel like they can do more for me, but I have to find a way to express to them how to do more for me. I can't just expect them to know how to work with me and work and please, quote unquote, please me. Like, they're not supposed to be walking around wondering how to make me feel better.
Right.
Like, I need to tell them what they need to do to make me feel better.
Right.
To make me feel more comfortable. Just like I said with you, and I got to do it too. But with your parents, we're both kind of uncomfortable acting certain ways around them, which I feel like if we told them this is how we're comfortable and this is how we speak and this is how we conduct ourselves, then they would know how to interact with us.
Right.
Instead of them just having to guess. Like, it's like if you tell someone you don't like something, then they're less likely to bring it up to you.
Right.
Than if you don't tell them. So
That's
I feel
true.
like that. So I feel like that's my issue. I need to work on being more direct with people. Like my friends, for example, they know what my disorder is and they want to help and they want to make me comfortable, but they don't know how. So I can just help them by simply saying, like, for example, we keep the party on Xbox Live. We keep the party on invite only because
You don't want random
I don't
people.
want random people jumping in
Yeah.
because it just triggers my anxiety, and they understand that, so they keep the parties on private. They invite me to events when there's big events, but they don't expect me to come if they know it's 20 people that I don't know.
Right.
They always let me know what people are at, like,
That's
my
helpful.
friend's house,
Yeah.
so that I know before I go there, so I don't go there and get surprised and get anxious, And like even when we went to when I got the engagement ring and all that, and we went to Walmart, I'm terrible in places like Walmart. So you and Willie went with me, and that made that whole experience a lot better. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there are different ways they can help, and they are doing a lot that they can to help. But I need to tell these people more about how they can help me, especially like my mother. I need to tell her. She's trying really hard to understand my disorder, but I'm not giving her enough information because I'm not opening up enough to her, which I need to do. Which hopefully she listens. She listens to some of the podcasts.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, I'm hoping that
Maybe
some
she'll
of it.
she'll
catch a good part of it where I'm explaining these type of things, so she can understand better.
Then maybe just reach out to you for more details.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to open up to her.
I'm grateful that I know that I have a good support system.
You have a great support system.
I
You have a
know.
very family oriented
Yeah.
family as well.
I mean, not to always circle back to this, but when, my whole sexual assault happened, I didn't realize as a kid, obviously, but now I realize how supportive my family's been because as I grew up, I realized that a lot of young girls in my same situation, they either have family that didn't believe them, they still interact with the people that did it, or they didn't report it to the cops or anything like that. But my family did everything right, so to speak.
Right.
My immediate family, at least. I know some of my family members still associate with this sicko, but that's a different story. I don't care about them. But my family, I called my mom as soon as it happened. She got out of her job immediately, told my father, who came over and got me, and all that stuff. And then they didn't call the police until about 6 months later because I, as a kid, wasn't ready to tell them.
Right.
I told them it was very extremely minor, and they thought maybe it was like a misunderstanding.
Right.
But then a couple months later, I told them exactly, like, step by step what happened.
Yeah, and it wasn't a misunderstanding.
And they obviously freaked out and called the police. But from there, they basically went to bat for me. And my father, unfortunately, it was his sister whose husband it was that did this to me. And he cut off his family, really, for me, which was...
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I mean, you're his daughter.
So it's a lot, though. I mean, not that I wouldn't do the same thing, but it's just a lot to know that, your siblings that you grew up with, you just can't talk to them anymore.
Right.
Because his sister still associates with him. In fact, she never divorced him, and she just lives with him now, which I think is
Well, I
outrageous.
think he made what is quote unquote the normal choice.
What, my dad?
I think when
Yeah.
someone causes trauma to someone you care about, you cut that person off.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
Yeah, but it's a shame that I've understood that that's not always the case with
yeah.
people's family members.
Well,
So I
yeah,
think what he did was logical, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it's not always the case.
yeah. A lot of people, like I said before, not everyone has morals. Not everyone is a good person.
Yeah.
So those people just that's their moral code. They're
Mm-hmm.
okay with stuff like that happening, and maybe it has to personally happen to them for them to understand it or something. But
I mean, I don't wish that on
I
anyone,
don't
but
either. But I'm just saying in general.
I know maybe it's got to
Yeah,
happen.
because people don't understand. I mean, they're still associated with him. I think your dad made the right choice.
Oh, for
And like I
sure.
said, but besides just that, your family support system is great in general. Like
Yeah.
you can call them anytime about anything for help with anything, and they're going to do their best to help you. And I feel the same way about like your mental health. I feel like if you talk to them more about it, then they'd be more engaged with you about it, and they'd be more understanding. But I know it's
Yeah.
hard. It's
I
very
guess
hard.
part of it that's hard for me is because I know that obviously I'm their child, and I know how hurt they were that the assault happened in the first place.
Right.
And they're probably beating themselves up for it, and I don't want them, like, I don't want to add extra.
Right. I know what
Emotion
you mean. You don't
to
want to, you don't, because it's a trauma for them as well. So you
Yeah.
don't want to like bring it up for them.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I don't
like,
feel like that's my place.
it is your
to-
place
to
though,
re-
because it's your issue.
Yeah.
It's your trauma. You're the one who was affected.
Yeah.
So one I know for a fact because I've talked to your father. Your father wants you to open up more about it because he doesn't know much about it. He knows what you told him, but that's all he can know.
And I think that was really back when I was like 9.
Yeah, so he
probably wasn't even that much.
yeah, and it's not even like you're an adult now. You can talk to him about this on a way different level.
Right.
And I feel like, well, not I feel like I know for a fact that he wants you to be able to be as open with him as you are with me about this kind of stuff. As open as you are with the podcast. Like, I mean, it's not, I mean, I know it's
different.
it's different, but still, like, if you can tell these strangers and have the strength to tell these people, like, you didn't even tell me that it was 6 months later that all this happened. I thought everything happened at once. Like,
I swear I did.
you always tell me, like, I'm finding out a little bit more details every time you talk to the audience because you give more details. So if you give those same details to your parents and stuff, I'm pretty sure they'd be, not pretty sure, I'm sure they'd be understanding and appreciative because they can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I
Like,
also.
the reason I'm so sensitive to your needs and how you need to be treated and I know your triggers and all that stuff is because you've talked to me about it. They
Yeah.
don't know any of that.
Yeah.
They need to know that.
Yeah. I know I need to talk to them, but I also don't know what I'm expecting. Like, in a best case scenario, I don't even know what I want. So. It's hard.
Nothing. I feel like it's just one of those things that once you talk about it, I feel like there's like a elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's one thing that since me and you had to talk about it a while back, I don't feel like you ever felt like anyone tried to properly talk to you about it.
That's true.
And I feel like that's always the elephant in the room. And I feel like until you actually break it down and talk to them about it, it's always just going to be there lingering.
Yeah, you're
Either
probably
with
right.
you or with them. So I feel like you need to open up about that. Like I said, even with me, when you first met me, for whatever reason, that was lingering over your head. You hinted at something happening, but you didn't tell me what exactly happened. So that was there just lingering until you eventually told me. And you told me because you said you didn't want me to you didn't want me to find out way later from someone else or something else that happened.
Right.
When first of all, it didn't matter if how I found out. Like, it's not in any way your fault or anything you can do about it. But it took away like that tension about the situation.
Yeah.
You opened up and explained to me, and once I understood, and I feel like that's what especially like your father as a man needs. He needs you to talk to him about how you feel and let him know that you're okay. Even though you're not, letting him know that you're not okay is going to be letting him know you're okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Because imagine how you would feel if something happened to your child, and they felt like they couldn't talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine. Like,
there should be no reason.
You know how hard it is when like your kid gets a cold and you can't do something about it. Now imagine like something your kid can talk to you about and they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's yeah.
Yeah.
So that I'd still have to do that. I know.
And with your support system being that great, like I mean, I feel like even if you need to open up to like if you need to work in steps, I feel like you can open up to like your sister first. I feel like that's something that you and her never talk about neither, and I feel like for whatever reason, I feel like that's there too. I feel like that tension is there too. I know you told me because.
Yeah, I don't even know what she knows or doesn't.
Yeah, right. See, but I mean, like, so I feel like, and everyone wonders why you are the way you are, why you are sometimes like a little withdrawn or a little depressed or a little. You're not talking about these things with them.
Right.
If you talk to them about these things, then they would know why you are acting the way you're acting or doing the things you're doing or.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth the discussion.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth the discussion. But, anyway, your support system is great, and I wish I had if I had a support system as strong as yours, I would have been opened up about all of this stuff. To be honest, your dad helped me get over opening up about a lot of things, and that helped me talk to my friends and my family about it. So yeah, your support system is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd also like to say, like we said, we like to hear. Do you guys have a support system? When we did a survey on one of the groups a while back, and most people said they deal with this by themselves. Mm-hmm. Like if I had to put it in a percentage, I would say like 75% of people.
It was pretty high.
Said they just deal with it themselves. They don't have any support groups or systems or any outlets for their anxiety and their stress. Maybe like 10% said they did it with a therapist, but that was it. It was either like therapy or by themselves completely. Mm-hmm. For me, I said a significant other / friends. That's who I went to, which is you / my close friends.
And now the podcast.
And then so that helps. But sometimes I feel like I do need to like get in touch with a therapist or something like that, because sometimes I don't want to put everything on you, and I don't want to put everything on my friends.
Speaking of that,
yeah,
I think I told you this before, but my therapist called me today.
Oh yeah, you didn't tell me what happened.
That was weird but nice. It was so I got this random call from a number I didn't even recognize, and I was like, feels like I should pick this up. And when I did, she was like, "Hi, this is therapist's name. I'm looking for Christina." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Like, how can I help you?" And she was like, "Well, you know, we had been seeing each other for a while, and then, you know, all of a sudden I hadn't seen you on my schedule anymore, and I just wanted to check in and make sure you were okay, and, you know, that either it wasn't something on her end or if, like, I'm literally okay, like, not suicidal because of whatever." And it was just really, really sweet. And she was like, "You're not under any obligation to come back, of course, but, you know, I just feel like you were doing a good job, and
I feel like you were too.
Like you should.
I told you, I feel like therapy helps you a lot. You seem
I don't feel like it,
but you seem a lot different when you open up like this. Like, I can see the growth, and you said you could see it too. You feel more like I'm starting to see like glimpses of the way you act just around me, around other people, and in public. And even like when I told you like to just tell me like, sometimes I ask you to do something and you don't just say no instead of just, and you don't. Sometimes, all right, I'll put it for the audience. I'll put it in third person perspective. Sometimes I ask Christina, "Can you make A, B, or C?" And instead of just telling me no, I don't feel like it, she goes and makes A, B, and C.
Why not?
I'd rather you tell me you don't feel like it, because that's your actual feelings. That's what you need to do with everyone. You need to tell your exact feelings. Like, it's not that, I mean, I know it sounds easier than it is, but just do that. Do that.
Yeah, I can
and
try.
I feel like therapy and talking to others and opening up helps you do that. Now, like the other day when I asked you, you told me straight up, "No, I don't feel like doing that." And that was cool. Like, it was, you need to be like that with everyone. And I feel like every time you go to therapy and every time you start to find an outlet to open up, you open up to me more. You open up to other people more, like your parents.
Yeah, but then I gotta drive on my day off.
That doesn't matter. It's important.
It does.
It's important.
There's so much out of my day.
It's important.
I
It's
don't
important.
know.
It's important.
I'll think about going back.
I'm not going to pressure you into going back because, like I said, I think you're doing well on your own. But obviously, a therapist could help you a lot more than just doing stuff on your own. Yeah. Not saying there's anything wrong with self help and helping yourself, but a therapist could also help you in another way. It's good to have another perspective on things.
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably good for me, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in therapy. Like when I was going, I told you I've been to 5 therapists since I was young, and they all helped me with stuff. The main thing they couldn't help me with was AvPD because AvPD is such a weird thing to help people through. But they definitely helped me deal with my feelings about death and my PTSD regarding death and things like that. I mean, I think that's the last therapist I had, whose name I don't can't really say people's names on these type of things, but that therapist really helped me cope with the PTSD and loss. Like really helped me, and some of the tricks that I learned from her, I still use to this day to get over that. Which is why I'm not the guy who breaks down at every funeral or every death.
I mean, you could.
I know, but it's just something I learned, and I learned how to express my emotions healthily when it comes to those type of things. And so I'm a big believer in therapy. Long story short, like all of those guys helped me, but I just didn't find a therapist to help me with my AvPD. Maybe I didn't find the right therapist. Maybe I didn't find the right type of therapy, but I felt like for my AvPD, it was just something I had to do myself because it's all fears that I have. So, like my fear of speaking in public and my fear of talking to large audiences, I'm getting over that with the podcast. Like, I hate my voice. I
love
really
your
hate my
voice.
voice. And having people listen to my voice all the time and putting it out there for the world to hear and having people give me feedback on my voice, whether it's good or bad, it makes me feel more comfortable with it. So I just felt like I needed to tackle that myself. But besides that, I'm a big believer in therapy. So I feel like you should go back to therapy. I'm not going to force you into it, though, of course.
Well, we'll see.
All right, and that was our first edit point of the episode. I think we're getting better at this. It feels more natural now to just talk. I told you before I was thinking of it as talking to a third person, but now that it's just a conversation between me and you that someone happens to be listening to,
Yeah.
it makes it easier to talk. Because I'm not nervous talking to you. So yeah, I wanted to, before we get into any other serious topics, I had a few random topics just because this, like I said, it's the place where we open up and it's the place where we ask questions and it's the thing where this is what this is for. So I've had some questions I just wondered
Okay.
about, asking you several times and that involve our future and involve us, and I never asked you. So
Oh, jeez.
and I feel like these aren't just relationship questions either. So
Okay.
I feel like if anyone, like everyone said they liked the other stuff that we put out because it was just a break from the mental health stuff. And so I feel like people want to give their opinions on other stuff too. So
Okay, sure.
yeah, sure. Your guys' opinions on this is just as important as hers on this. I want to hear those too.
Yeah, chime into our relationship. It's great.
Yeah, and chime into the actual topic, please. I wanted to ask you, it's 2 topics that are both connected.
Okay.
And today, everyone's always telling us, have a baby, have a baby, have a baby. You've been together.
God.
We've been together 7 years. And
Okay.
we've been engaged for since January. But everyone always tells us that. I never asked you about your feelings on raising children. So 2 questions I had are, 1, how do you feel about disciplining children, and in what way would you discipline children? And 2, how do you feel about children cursing?
I feel like we've talked about this before, but disciplining, I mean, that is an obvious thing that needs to happen. I'm not totally clear on what I want in terms of how to do it, but I know that in
Right.
some points it needs to be strict, and that we definitely need to be like a wall together in terms of
We need to
having
be
an answer.
unified, yeah.
So, I mean, I recognize that, but I don't have any strong feelings towards any specific type of discipline.
About beating your kids.
I know that's what I was beating around the bush about.
Beating your kids.
I don't know how I feel. I mean, there's
I even when my little sister and all these other kids I helped like babysit and stuff, it was more like a pop. It wasn't like beating.
I know, because
kids
you
with
said
a belt.
with the child that you helped raise that used to flick
Yeah, like a pluck.
a pluck. There you
Like
go.
a small pluck, just like
Yeah.
an irritating little
Yeah.
thing, and it makes kids, like, especially when they're younger, they just don't like it, so
Yeah.
they just stop it. Yeah, so.
I think I'd be more apt to do that than say, go get a stick outside and I'll
Yeah,
beat you.
no, it would be like, especially like with my friend's daughter Haley, I would pluck her hand, like when she would reach for something she's not supposed to touch several times, or she'd hit. You know how you tell kids hit, and she'd be like trying to hit, and pluck the little hand. No, even with Kitty, I do that when Kitty does something, or our cat, or Jinx.
Yeah.
My it bit. That's what I call her, it bit, because she's very small faced cat. But when she does something she's not supposed to do, I do the pluck.
Yes, not
And-
animal abusey, but
No, it's
just
just
enough
like a
to
little
annoy
pluck,
her.
and it's just like, hey, what was that? It stops them from doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But
So I'm down with that. And then what was your other question again?
I said, I've always had this weird feeling, and it's weird. It's a weird stance to take, but you know me, I curse all the time,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like
I don't know.
it. For as an adult, I've cursed since I was very young, but a lot of people don't know that, because obviously you hide it from people who aren't supposed to know that you curse all the time. But I feel like it helps you express yourself in a way you can't just express. Sometimes you need a curse word. Sometimes whatever. But I'm not saying kids need to curse. But I'm just saying, for example, if my child was to curse at something, and I'm not saying it when they're babies or whatever like that, young, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever. I'm saying if my child's 14, 15, and they say something to the effect of, oh, that shit sucks, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that.
I don't know. I feel like I might
I
have to
feel
see
like
how I
as long,
feel in that situation.
I feel like as long as they conduct themselves properly and articulate themselves well when they need to, why can't they just talk the way they want to talk around me?
I think that's valid.
I don't want to have to talk like I'm at work all day, every day, and I don't want my kids to have to feel like they have to
Yeah, that's true.
hide something from me, quote unquote.
I mean, it's just hard for me because that's not the way I grew up, so it's hard to
You
break
guys
that.
can say pissed. I could not say pissed in
I
front
just
of
don't
my
see
mom.
that as a word.
I
like
couldn't say that. I couldn't say to my mom, "Oh, I'm pissed." She would have slapped the crap out of me. No, you couldn't say that. You guys get away with a lot of things you shouldn't be able to
I don't
say.
know. It just feels
with-
weird.
Yeah, like for example, like with Willie's family, my best friend's family, they couldn't say liar. They had to say you were telling stories or you were a fibber. Like they couldn't say those words, like to their mother or whatever.
It's so different in everyone's household.
Yeah, but for me, like I said, if my child would have to know, one, not to curse at adults, and
Okay.
to respect authority, and to not disrespect anyone who is their elder.
I think that's fair.
So I would not let my child tell me I'm sick of your shit. But if my child told me I had a shitty day, I would be understanding of that.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Another thing I had with kids is the thing with the punishment. I never want to make my kid do something just because I said they have to do something. So for example, like if your kid has a bedtime and you tell them their bedtime is 9 o'clock
yeah.
or whatever, and they have a good reason why they should be able to stay up later than that for that day, I feel like give them that. Like
Yes,
it's reasoning. It's simple logic. They took the time to give you a reason for why they have it. I feel like that encourages your kids to think. Like I feel like when you shut your kids down, like, well, just do it because I said do it, or this is because I said so, or it's like
That helps breed kind of what we
yeah,
talk about.
yeah. Like I said, I don't want my kids to ever do anything just because someone told them to. That's how kids end up in messed up situations because you're just blindly listening to adults. I want them to question everything.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. So if I tell my kid you can't go out to this thing, and they give me a good enough reason for why they should be allowed to go out to this thing, then I would let them. Like it's no reason to shut that down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was just something I was wondering because I never talked. I
feel like
to.
we have before.
I don't feel like we ever have, and I always think about it every time we talk about kids. I think we talked about the cursing thing kind of, but I don't think we ever talked about discipline and how I felt about that.
Yeah, I don't really have strong opinions.
Yeah. Well, we're not having kids anytime soon, so yeah.
Can barely afford to take care of myself.
Yeah. But that was just a random thing I wanted to throw in there, whatever, like that. Like I said, this place is for opening up, so I just wanted to something I always wanted to ask you, and
Okay.
now we can move on to the next topic. Specifically, I guess the topic is more for me.
Yeah.
It's AvPD and how it affects relationships, and there's a lot of ways. You know, one of the main ways for me is that I can't go to a lot of things you want to go to. The other day, we just went by the fair.
Oh, the one that was along the highway?
They had the little town fair, yeah, and you would
Yeah.
love to go there and just ride the
Yeah.
Ferris wheel or something, but I know
That would be great.
exactly, I'm sorry, but I know exactly how I would feel in that environment.
Yeah.
And unless under various particular circumstances, you know me, I'm a planner, so under very particular circumstances, I could go do
All right,
that.
let's go next week.
I don't think they'll be there next week, but if you did really want to go next week, I can try to work something out for that. But I need to plan things because it's not just jumping up and going. It's not going to work. I'm just getting used to that when we go out to eat. Mm-hmm. So even that, like in the beginning of the relationship, I couldn't just go out. Like she loves to go get chocolate chip pancakes at the diner. I couldn't just bring myself to spontaneously go out to eat. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't open up to you as much at first, for sure. Definitely didn't open up to you as much at first because I didn't want you. I didn't want to open up to someone who was just going to leave. Yeah. And not saying that you were in any way a bad person, but at that point, I was already in a relationship for 3 years that went bad, and I had several other relationships that were like a year and longer. So, being with someone a couple months didn't exactly
wasn't it yet?
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't exactly solidify your place yet, But there's a lot of different ways it affects me. Like I said, like I know you're very family oriented, and you like to do your family events and go to your family events, but they want me there, and it's hard for me to be there because I don't want to be there. Like it's not like anything's wrong with them or anything's wrong with their events. The AvPD makes me not want to be there. It makes me nervous. It makes me, especially like I said, when you have AvPD and you're on the outside of a group, it's harder. Your family is a unit. Your family is a group. You guys are close. You guys sit down and have dinner every night together. When you guys all lived in the same household, you had dinner every night together at the table, and talked. I'm the outsider to that. So it's harder it feels harder. It makes me even more nervous about doing something wrong or not fitting in.
But they're trying to make you part of that unit too.
Yeah, I know. But
I
like
know
I said,
it's easier.
The AvPD doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
So that's why now I'm trying more to like communicate with your dad, and I haven't tried anything with your mother, but that's what I'm trying.
Interesting experiment.
Yeah. We're all going to be very close quarters soon, so I mean, we'll see how that works. But that's why now I'm trying to talk more to your dad and interact more with your sister and all that type of stuff, because you guys don't have, like you said, your dad cut off the rest of your family. So you guys have very strong family values, and with the friends and family you do have.
Right.
And I want to be part of that. That's
just gotta get to it.
Yeah, like I said, like I've been around your little brother's how old now?
I should know. I should know the answer to this. I think he's
14, 13.
He's turning 14 this
exactly,
year.
And
he's old.
I've
oh my
been
god!
I've been around since he was 7, and
that's crazy.
I've never I've always wanted a little brother.
That's crazy.
And I've never like took an interest under him like I should have because of my AvPD.
Right.
And I feel like
I'd have.
Help. Huh?
I said he also doesn't.
He's also a very to himself little kid.
Yeah.
He wants to do his sports and he's a very interesting kid.
Yeah.
But I want to teach them the martial arts I know and things like that, and I never really got to do that because of my AvPD. I never got to bond with him or your sister the way I should have in the 7 years we've been together. So I mean, it affects in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm sure you can tell me more ways that it affects us than I can.
I mean, I think you honestly hit them all. I can't think of anything much different.
I know at one point it made you feel like you had to choose between being around me or being around your family, or your friends or whoever. Yeah. Which obviously is not a thing.
I
Your
mean,
one friend thinks it is, but
yeah, whatever. I mean, overall, things have really improved since day one to now. It's like a whole different world.
I've been trying.
Yeah, so you've been doing a good job with that. So I don't. I mean, some of the things that you mentioned are really kind of where we are right now, but I don't have any other, I guess what I would say, complaints about the way it's affected us.
Yeah. I feel like, specifically within the past year, I feel like we've made some big strides.
Yeah, we have. I mean, this podcast is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. But, well, like I said, and, we'll be moving, with or close to your parents.
Very soon.
Very soon. So, I mean.
Next, like 2 months.
So, we'll have the chance to improve those relations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, if you don't open up now before you get there, you'll have to open up eventually, being around them all the time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, did you want to talk about something positive? Anything happened yesterday?
Anything happened yesterday?
And we've only had like 1 or 2 days in between.
Yeah, our podcasts are very close together. So, yeah, one positive thing, I got really good feedback from someone, I can't, whose name I can't say, obviously, on Facebook, and essentially made a new friend.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, like I said before, the other day, that was my other thing. I made another friend, but this is another friend I made, and that's pretty cool for me, because
That's great.
It's hard to reach out and make friends.
Yeah.
And,
I know you were saying you were hoping to get another close friend that you can confide in and all that stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's great.
That's all I want. Yeah. Especially since I said, like I said before, my friends don't open up about their emotions very often.
Typical guys.
Yeah, like I said, just randomly throw this in there. Me and my friend both witnessed a woman jump from 18 stories to her death. And when I asked, does he think that affects him in any way? He was like, no, not at all.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, no, that definitely affects me. So.
For me, I mean, I've been checking our email. We've been getting a little bit of feedback through there too, and
the numbers. Oh, also, sorry, the numbers look really good too.
Yeah.
Our
viewership.
Yeah, we got
listenership.
We got like 200 downloads now.
Yeah.
200 plus downloads.
I know, it seems like a small number, but we're very proud.
Yeah. That means that it's reaching people. Yeah. That's all I want, man.
That's what we want. It's not about the money or.
Yeah, we're obviously getting
like
no
that.
money or anything from any of this. So.
We're just hoping that it can reach as many people as possible. And, even if we do have sponsors or anything in the future, it's going to be about what we truly feel will help people, because that's what we're all about.
Right, yeah. We would never get sponsored by, like, Coca-Cola or some crap. It would be like for example, we applied to Talkspace today.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would be something like that we feel like can help people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the message out to everyone and let everyone know they're not alone. And Talkspace does the same thing we want to do, which is give people a place to feel safe and open up to someone. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So we're all about just helping you guys out. So if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, maybe you have some sort of home remedy that's really helped you, we'd like to talk about that.
Anything.
So you let us know what you want covered, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Anything else this week? Anything random you want to talk about? No.
Not that I can recall. I mean, I know in terms of taking a step, I still have to talk to my parents, which we just talked about. So I hope by the next episode.
I still have to talk to my mother as well.
Yeah, so I hope maybe for both of us by the next episode we'll have some feedback.
Yeah, there's only 2 days between the podcasts, so we just said this, Sunday?
Yeah.
So we didn't really have time to do anything between that. I mean, we could have, but I mean,
I went to work yesterday. That was pretty much it. Got scratched.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah. I think that's, I had something else on my mind that was, I think it was a pretty random topic. Yeah, I can't remember now, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, we'll just push it. Or we'll have a special episode. We need to do another one of those.
Yeah, we need to do another special episode. And if you have any ideas for what our special episode should be, let us know. Like I said, we're not just our mental disorders, and we're not just our mental health. We're not just that. We all have opinions on other things, and we all care about other things. If you like sports and you want to talk about a sports topic, maybe, I mean, neither of us are into sports.
I'm about to say, I won't be that enthusiastic about it, but I'll try.
We'll try to talk about the things that, you guys want to talk about, because, like I said, it's about forming a community for all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, uh, that's about it for this week, I think.
Yeah, I think we've summed up kind of everything we wanted to talk about.
All right, and yeah, like we said before, guys. Oh, another thing. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, if anyone feel like if any of you guys have any free time, feel free to reach out to us at our email, which is avoidingavoidancepod@gmail. We want to know. I specifically want to know what your age is, where you're from, and what's your cultural background, because I want to know what's the audience looking like.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like I said, we get the age groups, but we don't know much more than that.
That's true.
And
yeah, that'd be interesting.
I would like to know, like, where are you guys from? What are you guys interested in? What is the group that we're drawing in? Because the numbers look pretty good. So I mean, I would just like to know who and what kind of people are listening.
Yes, please talk to us.
Yeah, yeah. Please talk to us, please.
We love the interaction.
Yeah,
we talk about it all the time.
Seriously though, we do love the interaction, and the interaction continues even when we're not talking to you guys. We're talking to each other about the interactions we have with you guys.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Feel free to reach out to us in any way in the comments on YouTube. I don't know if Spotify has anything like comments or anything like that. No.
But you can drop a review everywhere, which would really, really help us in the
exactly.
algorithms. So
Any type of interaction, and if you interact with us on any platform, we'll definitely get back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to monitor all of them so we can make sure that we
get back to everyone and everything.
But we appreciate what we've gotten so far, and you guys have been super awesome.
Yeah. All right. That's it. And I'm Sean.
I'm Christina.
And this has been the Avoidance podcast. And always remember to avoid that avoidance.
Thank you, guys.